Hey everybody, how you doing? Well, that's good. You're listening to PHLY Flyers postgame. My name is Bill Matz. I'm your director of fun and games for the evening. Joining me tonight, the one and only JP Zapata. We will do our best to bring you Charlie O'Connor at some point or another, but if you didn't hear, the power's out at the Wells Fargo Center. That's it. I'm done the mask. I've done my mask duty for the day. And now I can tell you that today's show is brought to you, as it always is, by our friends at Mortgage CS. Check out mortgagecs.com/PHLY to start your home buying process today. Company NMLS ID number 1464766. More on them a little bit later. But not a bad bounce-back performance for the Flyers tonight. 12 goals in the last two games without Travis Konechny. I guess they don't need him.
I guess we can trade him at the deadline, right?
I guess I might as well, right? The offense is doing the best it's done all year. Couple of 6-goal games in there, but that was
weird.
Bobby Brink comes back up,
right?
Scores right away. Mm-hmm. Twitter rejoices. About a minute later, the power goes out. Nothing happens basically in the first 40 minutes of this game. And then in the third period, the Flyers just start pumping in goals to the point that with like 9 minutes left, Jon Cooper's pulling the goalie. We haven't been doing this together that long, JP, but we've got a decent number of games under our belt. This is the wildest by far.
This is the weirdest one by far. You mentioned a couple of the key factors there. Obviously, the powerhouse, the big one. Bobby Brink, I mean, he's back, ladies and gentlemen. That was crazy as well. We have a goalie being pulled with just under 9 minutes left. Like, there was a lot of weird things. You had a bunch of kids scoring in the third period, but at the end of the day, dude, we put up 6 goals. Well, I guess obviously you had the 2 empty netters, but still.
They put themselves in position to score those empty netters. I'm counting.
Against the Lightning. And remember, they brought it up on the broadcast. If the Lightning were to win tonight, that would have tied a team winning in Philadelphia consecutively with the Boston Bruins back in the early 70s. So kudos to the Flyers to knock that off. But this was a weird one. Like, we don't do this against the Tampa Bay Lightning and with the players that we had as well. But, hey, I'll take it, especially the night we had in Philadelphia.
I will absolutely take it. It's been too long, like I said in the show tweet. It's been too long since our last victory woo. It has been too long since this team has been in the win column, and they haven't been playing poorly. But they came in having won just one of their last 5,
right?
And 4 of those, 3 of those losses were in regulation. They badly needed a win, and it's against a team, like you said, that's beaten up the Flyers, especially in Philly. They just beat them about a month ago, 6-3. We all remember that game with Kucherov running wild. And tonight, they kind of shut that down. They held them. I mean, when they pulled the goalie, what were they at? Like 17 shots on goal at that point? They had done a pretty decent defensive job against a Tampa team that is fighting for their playoff lives right now. They're fighting to get in. They're currently in a wild card spot. And I realize, like, the Flyers being in a different division, like, it might not come down to these two teams directly, but this is one of those teams. If, say, the Devils get hot, maybe you're in that, okay, maybe they take over that third spot in the Metro. Now suddenly you are fighting for a wild card. This is a playoff caliber team that you might be in direct competition with over the next month and a half. You just beat them pretty handily.
Yeah, no, and you saw some of the things, too, that the Flyers did very well. The forecheck, I thought, throughout the night was very well. You saw the intensity and the energy that they played with as well. And I think kind of just outlasted the Tampa Bay Lightning, kind of what we saw. But, Bill, I think what the biggest takeaway I took away from this game, like Sam Ersson outdueled Vasilevsky. Like, that's a crazy concept to kind of say out loud.
It's a wild thing to say. And even on the broadcast, they're like, it's not often you see anyone play better than Vasilevsky. I know Andre Vasilevsky might not be what he's been in seasons past. He missed a lot of the start of this season. I think he didn't come back until December. He's getting up there. He has played a ton of hockey. We're talking about a team that went to 3 straight Cup finals just a few years ago, and he might be wearing down a little, but
Some of those
he's
goals, like,
really
what was
freaking
that?
good, and Sam Ersson was absolutely better than him tonight. They only end up with 22 shots to the Lightning. He lets into for a 909. So by the numbers, Ersson might not have been spectacular, but I thought some of the saves, especially in the first period, were gigantic. And then with the net empty in the third, and the Lightning are just piling on the chances, he was big when it mattered. And I mean, he almost got to that Stamkos goal. Like, he made like 3 saves leading up to that. At a certain point, it's like, what can I do? He's one of the greatest goal scorers ever. It's going in. And he continues to victimize the Flyers as he has. But no, I was very impressed with Sam Ersson. I thought this was a nice... It was nice for him just to play well. We're judging Ersson by every start the rest of the way. Can he be the guy? Can he be the number one? Can he take them to the playoffs? Can he win them rounds in the playoffs? But especially after what they just went through against Pittsburgh and the lack of goaltending that they saw, I bet it's a nice pick-me-up to the boys in the room that are like, man, at least pretty much every night we're going to have a goalie who gives us a chance.
Yeah, no, I mean, if you look at tonight, like the Nick Paul goal, I mean, that's just like a defensive breakdown. But like you look at the first half, the first 30 minutes of this game, Bill, Sam Ersson made some huge saves that kept the Flyers in this game. You look at the penalty kills, he made some big saves on that as well. And we talked about the power play of the Tampa Bay Lightning in the last time we faced off against them. When you got a guy like Kucherov, any goalie is going to be a little bit nervous with that, but Sam Ersson, again, stood on his head, has made some big plays to keep him in this game. And then the third period, the guys just stepped up, especially the kids. And some of those goals like that Vasilevsky was letting off, we were just like, really? That just happened? But yeah, I mean, Ersson's performance, I think he really led the way here for the Flyers tonight.
Yeah, I think it definitely gave them the boost. I think Bobby Brink scoring early gave them that boost.
Yeah.
The second period was really Tampa's period. I thought they controlled. They scored the one goal, the only goal of the period, but the first half, or the first period and the first half of the third were pretty much all Flyers. And like, I just see this comment from Irish Mike. He says Tampa Bay went almost 5 minutes controlling the puck with the goalie pulled. Viable strategy and not as crazy as it seems. Or is that something that only certain teams like Tampa can do? And I would say, yeah. Like that's like, yeah, if you're Tampa, if you're Colorado, like if you have like Edmonton, players. Like you have these guys who can just control the puck like that, and you have that sort of confidence. And a coach with, I mean, like Jon Cooper, I'm almost positive the longest tenured coach in the league, as he should be. Yeah. Like a coach with that sort of leash where it's like, yeah, we can do something kind of wacky and like no one's going to be looking at him like, what's this guy doing? Like he's got a reason for doing what he's doing, and he probably thought about it a lot more than you have. So like you let him go. And no, but it is, I mean, I don't expect like the Montreal Canadiens to attempt this strategy anytime in the near future.
Definitely not the Flyers.
No, it's absolutely. I did think it was kind of crazy. A team that gets as many shorthanded chances as the Flyers, like it seems as if they get one shorthanded chance on every penalty kill, basically, that it took them that long to get the first empty netter. It was like 4 or 5 minutes. Like, I don't know. But again, it's Tampa. Like, look at the dudes out there. Stamkos, Kucherov, Hedman. I just named 3 Hall of Famers. Yeah. Like, Braden Point's freaking awesome, you know? I guess you're just going to control the puck for 5 straight minutes sometimes, and the Flyers did their best to survive it. They did. It was very odd to see, though. Like, I don't think I can't remember ever seeing it that early.
Yeah, no, I said it to you. It was like, Bill, really? Like we like about like 9 minutes out of this.
I was so confused. I just when I saw the empty net on the like score bug, like I was just like, there's been stuff wrong with the clock all night. This is probably just one of those things. And like last game, the last national broadcast, the clock just kept saying crazy shit. It's like, yeah, the Flyers are on a 4-minute power play. It's like, no, they're not. In fact, nothing's happening right now. So like maybe it was just, but no, they actually pulled the goalie with however, like basically half the period left. But the Flyers worked it to their advantage, and they put themselves in position that Tampa wanted this one in regulation. They thought this was their best strategy. And quite honestly, after watching the way Vasilevsky played, maybe John Tortorella should have done this in Pittsburgh the other day, because it's not like Cal Peterson was going to get you a save. Maybe it's like, yeah, the goalie's not giving me a chance anyway, so screw it. Let's go with 6 guys who can score. And they had their opportunities, but Sam Ersson came up big.
That's a good point you mentioned there, because after what we dealt with Sunday with Cal Peterson, we were looking forward to seeing Sam back in that, and he gave us a great performance, at least in the beginning part two, to just kind of forget a little bit that Sunday outing with Cal Peterson.
It's going to take a while. I will say, though, this was the 5th time the Flyers have scored 6 goals. They are now above 500. In the 4 previous games, they were 2-2. They lost the 2 games 7-6, both of them. It seems hard to do. Let me take a quick second to tell you about our friends at Empire Today. That's right. With Empire Today, you get shop-at-home convenience, the right product for your needs, quick and professional installation, and a price match guarantee. Empire Today is the best place to get new flooring. So, of course they have copycats. But those copycats can't beat Empire Today on quality, service, speed. So they advertise low-quality products that Empire simply won't carry. Empire Today won't promise the lowest prices, because anyone who does that is putting flooring in your home that they wouldn't put in their own. Empire's philosophy is to help you find what you need, not overwhelm you with thousands of choices and substitutes. What they leave out of their selection is as important as what they put in. Empire's product team exhaustively combs through thousands of product samples each year to find the perfect styles. And their virtual floor designer is a great way to see how new floors will look in any space. It's easy. Just snap a picture and instantly see how new floors will look in your room. So schedule a free in-home estimate today. All listeners can receive a $350 off discount when they use promo code PHLY. Restrictions apply. See empiretoday.com/PHLY for details. 1-800-588-2300. Empire Today. I will do it until they tell me to stop, because I was excited when I saw we were getting Empire as a partner, and I mean, jingle. Come on, that's a legendary jingle.
Hell
yeah! So I want to get back to Bobby Brink a bit. He spends 11 games in the American Hockey League after he was demoted to the Phantoms last month. Scored 11 points in those games. I believe 6 goals, 5 assists. Comes right up, and his line with Foerster and Frost was the best line on the ice tonight. They combined for the first 2 goals. I thought had a lot of chances, especially early in this game. I am excited to see what this group can do. And while you don't want to see injuries, Travis Konechny's still day-to-day, they're telling us it's not that serious. But for right now, with 2 defensemen hurt and you have Brink and Licksell still up, you can run 12-6. You are running a regular lineup.
You hear that?
Yeah, it's 12-6. Listen, it's working, at least for today. But I'm excited to see some chemistry grow between actual lines and actual defensive pairs. Like, we'll talk about the defense in a second, but I don't think it's a coincidence that suddenly Cam York and Travis Sanheim are like putting up points again, and they're playing with each other again. Like, I think that these things might be at least somewhat related. I'm excited to see how this goes over the next few weeks, as long as this remains the general lineup.
Play the kids. I know Joel is not necessarily a kid, but he's still really young, and I'm excited about this line as well. You're talking about 3 young players who have some great skill. And obviously for Bobby Brink, look, what went down in Lehigh Valley, I think it did work out well for him, because he came back and he looks like he has some confidence here. I mean, you're talking about in the first goal here tonight, and then, of course, the power does go out right after that. But in general, I think that I'm with you, Bill. I want to see some continuity with some of these lines, especially talking about these 3 players. I will say, though, Bill, it was cool seeing Bobby get on the score sheet. It would be nice to see Joel Farabee get on the score sheet as well.
I keep betting Joel Farabee to score, because he's got to, right? Eventually he was scoring at a great pace for most of this season.
Nice opportunity tonight too that Bobby Brink laid.
Yeah, he had a few chances, and he has been unable to find the back of the net recently. That's got to end soon. I'm just going to keep doubling down until I'm just broke, I think. Gamble responsibly, kids. That's the next thing I want to talk about is Travis Sanheim. Now has 4 goals in his
man.
last 6 games, 8 points in his last 8 games. He has tied his career high from 2018-19, which was his sophomore year, his first full season in the NHL. He has tied his career high with 35 points. He looks like he's back more on track. He's never going to be perfect. He's never going to be that great defender. But I need him to be an explosive player. I need him stirring the pot offensively. I need him contributing, joining the rush, whatever it is. And he seems to be doing that again.
Yeah, I mean, blue line. I mean, Travis Sanheim has improved so much better in both aspects and both ends of the ice there. And I mean, just in general, I mean, Bill, like we're been talking about leading up to trade deadline time, whether this team should go out and trade for a defensive because of the injuries that we've been having. But like you look at tonight, I thought like the defensive all 3 pairs, I thought they looked really solid, especially looking at Travis Sanheim, who added a goal here again today. But I mean, these guys, I love the way they responded as a unit, considering the injuries that took place, especially the Drysdale one on Sunday. That one had to rattle some of those guys in the locker room there, seeing the way Drysdale went down. But seeing Sanheim with Cam York getting a goal there as well. But they look really solid. 21 block shots. A lot of them came from the defenseman there as well. You know, you're talking about Tampa Bay with the offensive power they do have and having a defensive pairing. And that, I mean, the defensive unit was a big part of Ersson and his big performance here tonight. I really felt like they did a good job of trying to keep him clean. And obviously you're going to let a couple go with Tampa Bay, and he was there to stop it. But these guys definitely have to keep their heads up high going forward, because that was a solid performance, especially Sandy.
No, a defensive performance like that, if you're able to replicate whatever it was that allowed you to only give up 22 shots to Tampa Bay, especially considering they had 6 guys on the ice for half the third period, like if you can replicate that sort of defensive performance, that's going to go a long way for the rest of the season and making the playoffs. Even if you are to subtract a Sean Walker, a Scott Laughton, whoever it might be, I think a team effort like this, it should be galvanizing. It's something you can point to and go, this is how we need to play if we're going to win these critically important games. And they're in a tough stretch of games over this next month or so. I would like to see them come out of it still in the playoff hunt, if not still in the playoff spot they're in right now. They're going to have to play this way to do that.
Dude, we had a Sean Walker goal here tonight.
Very nice to see. That was it's a lot like one of the Cal Peterson. Like, it was a great shot.
Yeah.
But like, why isn't Vasilevsky? It's a right-handed shot on that side. Like, why aren't you square to the? I found Vasilevsky's game very odd.
I mean, like
tonight.
Bobby's goal. I mean, you look at Tyson Foerster goals. Like, dude, those are shots that Vasilevsky just stops. And like, I don't know. I mean, I want to believe what you said earlier. Maybe his body's just wearing down, but you don't typically see him allow those goals. So you definitely feel glad that those goals went through, because I mean, dude, you ran up the scoreboard tonight, even if it was off for most of the game.
Like the Foerster goal makes a nice move to put himself in position, but that is a stoppable shot. Like, is no reason that isn't stopped. But for whatever reason, Tyson Foerster's hot right now, and Andrei Vasilevsky just isn't. Listen, the Flyers, by the Rangers, got goalied, and then they got goalied by their own goalie against the Penguins. I will take a bad Vasilevsky game because they earned this one. They at least put themselves in the position. Another line I wanted to talk about, and it's been getting a lot of discussion lately, the Cates, Paling, and Hathaway line. Those 3 each put up a point. Cates had a goal and an assist. Yeah, he put up the empty net goal at the end. All of them +3 tonight. That is, I keep looking at this line. And yeah, down the line, if you're able to keep these 3 guys together, Cates, Paling, and Hathaway, it is a 4th line on a cup contending team, but a damn good one. Right now, I am looking at this as a 3rd line heading into the playoffs that will be a very effective checking line.
Dude, this is your hard hat lunch pail line. This is the line that does the forecheck and all the dirty work, and they get paid for it because their production offensively speaks for itself as well. But it's interesting because Paling and Hathaway, you kind of know what you're getting out of them. You're getting a lot of hustle. You're getting a lot of hard work and aggressive play from them. And Cates is kind of feeding off of that. Like, Kate, I know a lot of people want to kill Cates because the offensive production's not there. But Bill, the off puck stuff is there. He's doing the dirty work that without the puck, and that goes a long way, and that's going to keep him in the lineup as well. Yes, we want to see him score goals not from an empty netter, but I love him with Poehling and with Hathaway right now.
It just gives you a really, really solid group of guys who do all those little things that the coach is looking for. Guys who will go into the corners, guys who are physical. They're going to be good defensively. Poehling can really skate. Like, Cates can really forecheck. You have two guys who can get in, and Jesus, Hathaway in the corners is going to kill somebody one day.
Dude,
Hathaway,
like
it is exactly like you said, one of those lunch pail hardworking lines. Another group that I'm just looking forward to seeing stay together now that the lineup is normalized.
Dude, Hathaway gets pelted in the leg with a puck, and then a couple minutes later, he comes right back out like nothing. Like, that kind of explains this line right now.
It does, and that's just guys that the coach can point to, like on film, say, this is what I'm looking for all the dudes who who might not be that happy with their ice time, who, like, I'm not quite sure what the coach is looking for. Them. Look at what they do, and you will have a really good foundation for what the coach is looking for with just the work ethic, the intensity, and the solid two-way play. Like, I think it's important to have this line.
Especially on the PK, too.
Yeah, and the PK
Hathaway
is a really, really big part of that.
Especially big on that, yeah.
I want to talk a little about Scott Laughton now. Kind of been lost in the shuffle a little bit. He's been bouncing around the lineup, but he came in on a 7-game point streak, which ended tonight, but he does end the night +1, has 4 hits and a shot on goal tonight. Man, I've just been looking at his career numbers.
Yeah.
And it's funny the way we've been talking about Scott Laughton, like having a down year.
That's what you put out was very, very telling.
Hasn't looked like himself. He is now, after 60 games, he is at 30 points. The most he's ever had in a season was 43 last year. He was playing second-line minutes all last year. Like, he was never going to score 18 goals this season. But it ties the number that he put up in 66 or 67 games 2 seasons ago, and it is 3 shy of setting a new second career high, like the second most points he's ever had in a season. He needs 3 to get there. I know it's not all about raw points totals. Like, there's a lot of stuff he's been doing off the puck that just hasn't been Scott Laughton-esque. I think we've kind of overblown how poor his season has been, though, because he was in his scoring slump at one point. Like, he's kind of having a regular Scott Laughton season by the numbers.
I think what it was, Bill, like, it was a rough stretch where, yes, he wasn't scoring, but it was more so he was just making dumb mistakes. Some of the penalties that he was giving up there, it was just like, Laughton, it's not you at all. I think that's kind of where we're at, but I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's just genuinely he just doesn't want to get out of Philly. He does not want to be traded. But what he's done over these past couple of games, I mean, that is Scott Laughton, and he's back to where we know who Scott Laughton is. And so I don't know what's going to happen this trade deadline. Listen, I do believe what Jonesy and what Breer are saying. It really is going to take a really good package for Scott Laughton to leave. But I mean, also too, Bill, I mean, if he's playing this well right now, who's to say a team won't give that up, considering what the market is right now for his position?
Yeah, and we just keep seeing certain players get hurt. And there's been a couple of trades already. People are dying for centers. I think Scott Laughton has always made a better winger, but that's one of the beautiful things about his game. He can play any of the 3 positions out there. I am going to be, I don't want to say sad when they trade Scott Laughton, but he's had a nice Flyers career. Never really lived up to that first-round billing. You know, as soon as they draft him, it's like, oh, well, he's the next Mike Richards, and that's always the kiss of death. But like he took some time to develop, had to go to the AHL after he already played a full season. He played, 2014-15, he played 31 games. 2015-16, he played 71 games. The following year, he plays 2 and gets sent down. And he just had to reform his game. It was like, you're not going to be a top 6 forward. You're not going to score 25 goals a year. You have to figure out another way to play if you're going to be a lineup regular in the NHL. And he did that. I mean, he's been a regular since 2017-18, that following season after getting sent down. And it's going to be like a mixed bag when they trade Laughton. I'm going to be glad they opened up a roster spot. I'm going to be glad they cashed in on a guy who, when this team is good again, he's probably going to be nearing the tail end of things for him. He is what? He's 29. He'll be 30 on May 30th. So he's closer to the end than the beginning at this point.
Same age as Scott Laughton. That is crazy.
He's closer to the end than the beginning at this point. But he's had a nice career and worked his ass off for this team. And hopefully he's able to go to a contender and maybe go on the playoff run that he never got to have here.
Yeah, Laughton is one of those Philly athletes that it's just so easy to love because of just the way he came into this league. He worked his ass off, and we always resonate with that. And also, too, he's a homegrown player. Like, I remember these past couple years before Tyrese Maxey, we couldn't trade him. He was untouchable. And it's because he's a homegrown player. And that's why I look at Scott Laughton as well. And that's why we love him so much. It's going to suck. You're right. It is 100% going to suck. But at the end of the day, we do need to understand that this is a business. And all along, I know we are winning and I know we are pushing for playoffs, but the plan has not diminished. We are still building for the future. And if the package is a first rounder with a top prospect, you're not saying no to that for Scott Laughton. As much as it would suck, you're taking that package. But I mean, listen, you got to give kudos to Laughton. He's making his voice heard, or his play be heard, I should say. He's making his play be heard. He does not want to be traded, and you got to love his effort on a night-to-night basis here.
Someone whose effort I have always appreciated is Sean Couturier, and he's finding himself in a very odd position right now. All of the Couturier doubters from 10 years ago, it's finally coming true. He's a fourth line center. He played 12 minutes and 12 seconds tonight. The only players on the team who played less were his line mates, Nick Delorier at 10:10 and Ula Lixell at 11:35. He came into the game on a 2 goals in his last 24. So he's got 2 goals in his last 25 games. He does have 10 assists in that stretch, but he's -7. They gave him the C like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, I know.
And it seems as if his play has all right, we gave you the C, and also we are not happy with what we're seeing out of you. Do you think he's hurt? Like,
I don't.
What is going on with Sean Couturier?
It is so weird. Like, it's crazy because there was a point in this season where Sean looked like Sean before the injury, and as of late, I mean, he does look like an older man, and it does suck because like we talk about here on the show, like the stigma that comes with that C on the sweater is just absolutely terrible. And if you're John Tortorella, like, what do you do here? Your captain right here is on a slump, and what you're not sending your captain Lehigh Valley. Like, you're not benching him. Like, what do we do with Sean Couturier? Sean has to figure this out himself, unfortunately.
Yeah, and I just hope that this is. I mean, it can't. He's signed forever with a no move clause. He's making a ton of money that no team is going to take on, especially the way he's playing right now. You just made him the captain, and that's a straight coach's decision to make him the captain. But, like, he can't be happy with how much he's playing. I really don't want to see this turn into a Kevin Hayes situation. Now, I don't expect it to, but I didn't expect what happened last year to happen with Kevin Hayes. This isn't something that I believe is going on. Charlie hasn't told me, like, oh, behind the scenes, it's really not going. Like, none of that. It's pure speculation. I just fear it going that way. But that said, right now, like Bobby Brink said it after first intermission when they interviewed him, you earn your ice time here. Everyone earns everything they get. That's the way it's been all year.
Yep.
And Sean Couturier is not one of the 9 best forwards right now, and so he finds himself centering the fourth line.
Unfortunately, that it is what it is. It's a situation right now, and going forward, we're gonna have to keep an eye on see where Coots is at mentally. But right now, his slump is definitely not. Luckily, tonight you had some big contributions, especially from some of the young kids, like we mentioned here. Ersson stood on his head, but like there's gonna be those like this past weekend where you needed some more goals. Obviously not Sunday, but you're wondering maybe Coots could step up here, and he didn't, unfortunately. So we're going to have to keep an eye on this, Bill, but this is not the best case scenario. I did want to mention something too, Bill, because someone mentioned here in the comments too. On the first line, we did have Owen Tippett there with Scott Laughton and Tyson Foerster. There's been some displeasure with Owen Tippett ever since the contract extension. From what I've seen with Owen Tippett, the shots are still going. They're just not falling in. I haven't noticed anything down with Owen Tippett. It's just they're not going in.
The thing with Owen Tippett is he's always one shot away from another streak. We would like him to be more consistent. Also, consistently scoring goals is the hardest thing to do in hockey. That's why, like, nobody does it. You know? That's why we're enamored by the top-end goal scorers who are going out and doing this every night. Like, no one has done what Austin Matthews is doing right now in 30 years. Now, there is a huge gap between Tippett and Matthews. I'm just, for comparison's sake, even the top end, the best goal scorers in the, like, Alex Ovechkin's never done what Austin Matthews is on pace to do this year. Like, it's very, very difficult to be that good. Yeah, we had issues. I mean, people got mad at Jeff Carter when he was scoring 40 goals a season. He had like a 46 and a 42 in there, and people were like, oh, he misses the net too much. Like, goal scoring is the hardest thing, and it's the most frustrating thing because you see a guy who can do it, and you think, why can't you do that all the time? And it's just really freaking hard.
One thing I have a question about the future with Owen Tippett is on the power play. Because we have talked about him potentially being that power forward type. But when I see a shot, I mean, like, I do like him from the slot areas. So that's where I'm confused about him going forward.
Yeah, the power play is just so weird right now.
For sure.
They use him a lot he's right-handed, and they use him on the right boards. And when the puck's over on the left, he's kind of on the point. I guess he's one of the few guys with, like, a dangerous shot.
True.
So if you're going to take a shot from distance, you want it to be him. The power play is freaking out of control right now. They had Tippett on the right side and Frost on the left tonight, and it's just like if they just switched, you'd have one-timer possibilities. And at one point near the end of one of their power plays, like, they actually end up there being some movement, and they switch, and Owen Tippett gets a scoring chance from that area because he's on his forehand. Like, this power play, it's not going to be the best in the league.
Yeah.
They don't need to be 30%, but there is just no reason they can't be 16, 17, 18%, just a little bit better, but it's been over 60 games. Shit just ain't going to start working all of a sudden. Like, the power play is garbage, and it's going to continue to be garbage because nobody fixes anything with less than 20 games left.
On the power play, Get Pucks Deep had the tweet of the night. It seems like Pico has finally had enough of the Flyers power play because they cut off the electric.
The Pico jokes were definitely flowing tonight. But you know what's no joke? It's our great partners over at FOCO, because FOCO has the absolute best officially licensed gear for all sports and fandoms, whether it's a hoodie, a jacket, some beachwear, or even overalls. There's something for fans for almost every occasion. And if you're in the market for some accessories, toys, or collectibles for your man cave, she shed, or podcast set, you've got to use FOCO for all your team gear needs there as well. I've been telling you about the straw hats for a few weeks. I'm a big advocate of the straw hat. I'm a straw hat guy on the beach to keep those shoulders from burning. And
summer's coming.
So I can't, when I inevitably just wander around and then can't find my spot again, my wife's like, there it is. There's Bill in the straw hat, and she can wave me over. So FOCO has everything. They always have our back for PHLY Sports, and they have yours too. Get the best gear around by using the link in the description of this show. And for all non-presale items, use the promo code PHLY10. That's PHLY10 for 10% off. FOCO. It could be way worse. You know it. No one has told me I can't say that about FOCO. And it's not like I'm not trying to insult. You all know what I'm doing.
We have no idea what you're talking about, Bill.
I don't think if you buy something from FOCO, it's actually completely see-through. That's what I'm getting at here. All right. What were we going to talk about next? I want to talk about some of this Nick Seeler stuff. I'm going to talk about this probably with Charlie on tomorrow's show. We're live at, I believe, 3 o'clock tomorrow. It might be 3:30, but probably 3, if memory serves. A report comes out today that, the Flyers are still more likely than not going to trade Sean Walker. Tons of scouts in the building tonight. Sean Walker scores a goal. That seems good. But there was a report a couple weeks ago, the Flyers pretty interested in bringing back Nick Seeler. The discussions are ongoing, but the initial contact might not have gone as well as everyone was hoping. The Flyers want Seeler in the $2.5 to $3 million range. And according to, I have it at the fourth period, Seeler is looking for, quote, looking for a fair bit more over multiple years.
That's
Sounds like
wild.
he wants 4 or 5 years, maybe $4+ million. That's kind of what I thought Sean Walker was going to be looking for. I like Nick Seeler a whole lot. And like he blocked some shots tonight. I think he had 4 shots on goal. I have really come to appreciate Nick Seeler.
Mm-hmm.
At $3 million, I no longer appreciate Nick Seeler. Like, no, I hope some team gives him 5. I hope that team is not the Flyers. There are 31 other teams in the league that can give him $4 or $5 million. I do not need the Flyers to be that team. This seems like a ridiculous ask. Now, obviously, this is a negotiation. Start high, ask for the stars. But like, man, if the Flyers end up giving him like 4 or 5 years and more than $3 million, that is one of the first red flags of the Danny Briere era.
Did Nick Seeler like walk into negotiations, throw his leg on the table, be like, "You see these bruises? This is $5 million right here."
Nick Seeler has been a very important part of this team, and one of the things that makes him so valuable is you're not paying him anything.
Exactly.
And, so you're getting above value production. The minute you start paying him that, this is an inefficiency. Yeah. Like now, everything you get out of him, it's like, well, we better. Like, it's why aren't you doing more for that money? Like, everything then is just our perception of value is going to change over the next couple of years because we've been living in this flat cap world since like 2018. Mm-hmm. Cap going up, that means what $3 million was worth a couple of years ago, like when Scott Laughton signed his contract, is not what $3 million continues to be worth. Fully understand. Still, that seems like an overpay for a guy who ultimately should be a third pair defenseman.
Yeah, dude. I mean, you're talking about a 30-year-old defenseman here who is perfect for what we're doing right now. But if you're talking about building a contender for the future, I'm not giving Nick Seeler the money that he's asking for. And I guess my question is if this report is true, how does that affect if we're trying to trade him in any type of rumors? Because if you're a team, you're like, well, I do like Nick Seeler, but also, too, I might lose him because I'm not going to pay him that money either. I feel like most teams would feel that way. Yeah, maybe like your Arizona Coyotes would be like, oh, yeah, we could do that. We'll do $5 million for Nick Seeler for sure. Like, but
gotta pay someone, gotta hit that cap floor. No, I think maybe this increases the chance of Seeler and Walker being traded together because the acquiring team is going to try to keep one.
Okay.
And you would assume that team's going to try to keep Sean Walker just because teams want puck movers more than they want shot blockers. But you never know. But like I can see potentially teams looking at like, man, do we really want to part with a first rounder for a rental? No. Will we part with a first rounder for 2 rentals, one of whom we are almost certainly going to keep? Yeah, I think they would. So that's honestly, I think, an upgrade. Like that's increasing the potential return for the Flyers if they're not married to Nick Seeler. And it's like, no, we need a first for Nick Seeler because we love him. It's like, well, we loved him at $775. We don't at 3.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah, no, for sure.
So all of a sudden you're like, yeah, when we thought we were going to pay him 2.5, we were looking to keep him. Now we're not because he wants $2 million more than that. He wants to almost double what we're offering him. Like, I can see this increasing the likelihood he's traded and increasing the return if he and Walker are traded together.
Yeah, no, and staying on the defense because I didn't get a chance to talk about it because with the Jamie Drysdale situation on Sunday here and Risto's injury news as well. But come trade deadline time, I don't expect the Flyers to make some type of rash decision trading for a defenseman because of the injuries that are going on right now. Charlie did mention as well, and I kind of forgot because I haven't seen him this year, but Ronnie Attard, I did like what I saw and a little bit I saw him last year. And he's looked solid down in Lehigh Valley as well. So for right now, I don't see the Flyers hitting the panic button on the defensive position there with some of the injuries that happened. But we'll see what happens with Sean Walker and Nick Seeler. I'm with you. I think that if you can find that partner for Nick Seeler, I definitely do that. It's going to be interesting to see if that does happen. But it's the package. I like that.
Yeah,
Walker
I'm
and
very
Seeler.
interested to see how it goes. Like, you see Tampa tonight, like they're without Sergachev. Maybe they're in the market for a defenseman. There's teams out there. I don't think it's just Toronto and Edmonton now. I think the field has kind of expanded as we get closer, and so many teams are like in the playoffs or right on the door, especially in the East, that are like, well, shit, we can make it. Like, the Flyers are in a playoff spot and they're selling. So maybe we can catch them with their own guys. Like, literally. I think it's a definite possibility. I'm looking forward to seeing what goes down at the deadline. What do we have
Eric
here?
Mazusi says it perfectly. You can always find a Seeler.
That's the thing, is as much as I really, really like Nick Seeler, there is zero reason, like, you can't figure out a way to turn Igor Zamula into Nick Seeler.
Let's go.
This Hunter McDonald kid that they keep going on and on about. He was like a 6th-round pick. He's gigantic. There is no reason you can't turn him into Nick Seeler for what they have done with defensemen on this team. You look at Sanheim. You look at what they've done with Seeler. Risto is no longer just bad. He's actually kind of good. Like, all the defensemen on this team. Sean Walker.
Cam York.
Who knew what this guy was? Cam York. Every defenseman on this team under this coaching staff has improved.
Yeah.
They seem to know what they're doing. You have to be able to create a Nick Seeler. I'm not talking about creating fucking Cale Makar here. Like, I'm not looking for an all-star. I'm looking for a dude who can eat 4th or 5th defenseman minutes, block some shots, get in a fight now and then. Like, this is what Nick Seeler does. He does it extremely well, but I'm not paying someone $4 million to do it. That's insane.
And that's a key point, too, and that's why we're so easy to part ways with guys like Sean Walker and Nick Seeler, because the culture that is being built with those defensemen there, and that should be able to develop further defensemen, too, whatever young pieces do come in here. And so you feel comfortable going forward when you do part ways with Seeler and Walker.
I have to take a quick minute to tell you about one of they are our presenting partner, and I am so happy to be in business with the people at Mortgage CS. And I got to tell you, man, we've been hearing from people who've dealt with Mortgage CS, people we've turned on to Mortgage CS, and they couldn't be happier with the customer service they're providing because, as I tell you every time, what's that CS stand for in Mortgage CS? It's concierge service. Well, they want you to know that the spring purchase market is almost here, and it's heating up quickly. And many clients, especially first-time home buyers, are reaching out as they want to be ready when rates drop. And that's what everyone is thinking. If you think, oh, well, it's not now, but I want to be ready when it happens, a lot of people are thinking that. And that means there's going to be limited inventory and strong demand. So competition will remain extremely fierce in the housing market this coming year. So get in touch with Mortgage CS to prepare and ensure you will be able to stand out and make the strongest offers possible. Whether you're a first-time home buyer or you're looking to refinance, or you just want to know what you have to do to qualify for a mortgage when the time is right for you, Mortgage CS should be a consideration no matter your situation. There are a plethora of mortgage brokers out there. Many of them will make all sorts of promises. Oh, we have the best rates. We have the best service. Whatever it is, they will promise you whatever you want to hear just so you go with them. But the reason you should consider Mortgage CS is they're just honest, good people, and they will work hard to not let their clients down. Don't take it from me, though. Check out their reviews on Google. Google Mortgage CS right now and read their reviews. They have 359 on Google. I think I saw the number today. Guess what their average is? 5 stars. It doesn't go higher than 5. Then let's take a look at their most recent review from just 5 days ago. It reads, "My husband and I bought our first home together through Mortgage CS, and they were absolutely amazing. The whole team was great. Ben, Christine, Alec, and everyone else were always available, kind, patient, and diligent. We were aggressively looking for a home, meaning that throughout this process, we made multiple offers and needed to see the numbers for a variety of houses every week. They always provided us with the best service in this fast-paced market. Everything was thoroughly explained to us during each step, and we felt like they truly had our best interest in mind. Can't recommend them enough." Is this not what I've been telling you about Mortgage CS for weeks, months, however long it's been now? So when you hear the word mortgage, think of Mortgage CS. Think of Ben and Alex. Save Ben's telephone number. It's 267-391-7425 to your phone. Email Ben at ben@mortgagecs.com. Call or text Ben anytime, day or night. And talk Philly sports. If you're not quite in the housing market right now, throw out a line. Just see if he wants to talk a little bit about Philly sports, and then you can get into the, well, it's not, the time isn't right.
Extension?
Yeah, the time isn't right for me now, but when it is, how do I get into the housing market? They will have answers for you. Check out mortgagecs.com/PHLY to get started. This advertisement is not a commitment to lend or extend credit. Mortgage CS is an equal housing opportunity mortgage broker. All loans are subject to credit approval. Certain restrictions may apply. Company NMLS ID number 1464766. Visit mortgagecs.com for more information. All right, that's.
We do have to talk about one other thing.
Yeah, what do we have next?
Cam Atkinson was a healthy scratch here.
Yes, that's right. The lineup is so many ridiculous things have happened in the course of this game.
Seriously.
That I forgot about the thing that was the big story coming in. Cam Atkinson not playing. He was on an 11-game streak of 0 points. That's almost hard to do. Even he just played in a game with 13 goals in it. On Sunday, he didn't have a single point. I think he had one shot on goal. He has just really been freaking struggling lately. We heard earlier in the season when he was healthy scratch against the Columbus Blue Jackets from John Tortorella, and he said, "I respect Cam too much to keep letting him go down this road." So he scratched him, let him get a reset. I wonder if this is going to become a regular thing. Now, I don't know how long Outage is for this roster. Yeah. We'll see. I think he's been playing a lot better since he's gotten some consistent minutes lately. But Cam Atkinson has been 0 to negative for about a month now. And to Torts' credit, he scratched him even though they're boys.
And this is going to be the dilemma for John Tortorella going forward because, you are pushing for the playoffs. Outage, he's a young kid and obviously does well with the Phantoms, but Cam is a veteran player and he's been in this league. That may not have a crap ton of playoff experience, but he has some and he's a veteran player. So that's going to be the challenge here, especially if you're talking about the forwards where we're already kind of thin as it is. And so for Torts, you might want to healthy scratch him, but now you're kind of losing some veteran leadership, some experience in there. And you do know if Cam somehow, some way finds the groove, he can put pucks in net. And that's the tough part as well.
Well, I think I tweeted this out earlier today. The craziest part is Cam Atkinson is still 7th on the team in scoring. Maybe now after tonight, Frost has passed him. And Foerster isn't far off, but he had 8 goals in the first 15 games. He had another little stretch there in between that 26-game goalless drought where he had a few assists, and now the 11-game. He had a 5 or 6 game window in there where he was one of the best players on the team. But these droughts, they're not just droughts. They're not just slumps. They are months at a time where he's giving you literally nothing.
It's just terrible play, and we talked about it with Jon Cooper. Holding players accountable, and you cannot, as a veteran player, have these long stretches of just bad play. Yeah, you may be Torts' boy, and listen, he's probably very well liked in that locker room as well.
I'm sure he is.
But accountability is still the important part here when we're talking about rebuild with this team. And for Cam Atkinson, the play is unacceptable, and so this is the consequence.
And I give John Tortorella a lot of credit because he was holding Morgan Frost to a certain standard. Yeah. And it's this guy, I don't know, he had a pretty good year last year, and now all of a sudden he's a healthy scratch, whatever, 10 or 11 times, and now Cam Atkinson isn't very good. Sean Couturier doesn't score anymore. He's actually holding these guys accountable too, and I think that goes a long way towards his credibility in the locker room.
For sure.
Not playing Mark Stahl a ton this year. I think all of these things go a long way to make sure, while sometimes it can be said John Tortorella's message goes stale and his teams can tune him out, this goes a long way to go, no, he's not bullshitting. There is a standard, and it's a standard for everybody. It's not just for, the flashy young guy or someone who's not that physical. It's for everybody to maintain the standard. And if you don't, you're going to find, even if you're the captain of the team, you're going to find yourself centering the fourth line.
Right.
You can be a dude who's now been coached by him for like 10 years over 2 different teams. Yeah, bro, sorry, you're not one of the 12 best forwards tonight, so you're not dressing. Like, I think that goes a long way to maintaining like his relationship with the locker room and everyone kind of staying focused and understanding he ain't bullshitting.
No, yeah, and look, he's still kind of fresher too. He's like a year and 3/4 into this project here with the Flyers here. But it's important that he's a man of his word. It does seem like Jon Tortorella has been a man of his word, and that's going to go a long way of gaining the respect of the guys in that locker room. Those guys genuinely, and thing is that when Jon speaks, he always speaks with honesty. You may not like it all the time, but it's important to get that honesty so you can improve upon your game. And so I think the players do genuinely appreciate that. And I think that this locker room, especially like this, a lot of these guys have been together for a couple of years now, Bill. And I think these guys wanted to win so bad, but they just didn't have that leadership in front of them or that guy to lead them there. And Torts has been the guy, and they've been responding well to that.
No, it's been really good to see, and it's just another really good bounce back for this team, and that's one of the reasons I think like I haven't seen the Jack Adams market recently, but the fact that Rick Tocchet was minus 280 to win Coach of the Year, and I got Tortorella at like 10-1. I've seen him recently at like 12 or 13-1. Like, it's just so impressive to me that this team, with the history of kind of just collapsing as soon as things start to go bad, they go real bad. Like this year, every time they've hit some sort of adversity, they have figured out a way to bounce back. Tonight, I mean, you're on a losing streak. Cam Atkinson scratched. You just lost to Pittsburgh 7-6. You could be hanging your heads. You could absolutely be hanging your heads right now. And instead, they come out with energy in the first period, and they beat a pretty damn good Tampa team. Tampa is not what they were a few years ago. But they still have all those top-end players. Like, those dudes are still there. Nikita Kucherov could very well win the Hart this year. I think he's going to finish second or third, but he could win. It's possible. Flyers don't have anyone like that. In fact, the only guy even close, their best player, Travis Konecny, not in the lineup. And they are not letting these little things kill them. I got to give that a lot to the coaching.
Dude, this team has no business being in this position that they're at. And a lot of it has to do with Tortorella. And these guys just responding to Tortorella as well. You look at it every single night. They work their ass off. I mean, this PK is the top PK. I think it's still the top PK if it hasn't changed since the weekend. Top PK in the league, and that's for a reason there as well. And Jon Tortorella definitely deserves all the praise right now. I know, like, he in certain circles in the NHL, like, he doesn't always have the best name around, but overall, especially what's going on right now with the Flyers, you see what makes Jon Tortorella so great, especially when we're trying to build a culture here. He's been perfect at that as well.
He absolutely has. And now they're through like, what is it, March 26th, they have a really tough schedule, but they actually have, I don't want to say a bit of a reprieve, but compared to the competition they faced the last couple of weeks, Friday, they're in Washington. Saturday, they're back home against the Sens. And next Monday, they're home against the Blues.
Did you say the Sens?
Yeah.
Now I'm worried.
I mean, yeah, they have to beat them. At some point, they have to beat this shit team. But they have been better lately. But the Caps, Sens, and Blues are not exactly like the Rangers and the Lightning.
Right.
So, now is a chance to kind of get back on a good win streak again and reestablish your a little bit of a gap between the Devils, between the Caps, who you're going to play Friday. Make sure the Penguins can't catch you, and they're just going to sell because they probably just stink. But like, you can, in the next couple of weeks, pretty much solidify your playoff spot, and with games against teams that I will call inferior to the Flyers, the Caps, Sens, and Blues, you absolutely have to win these games.
Yeah, and the resiliency, like you mentioned, has been so big for this team. Like, you would think that after the weekend that they had, Tampa Bay coming into town, like, they would drop off, but they came out and they stood within the game, and everything paid off in the third period when they erupted there. And that's just been the beauty of the Flyers lately. You know, gone are the days or multiple 10-game losing streaks. These guys find a way to kind of get out of that. Even like leading up to the All-Star break, we were on that 5-game losing streak. They came back out and they were guns a-blazing, Bill. And so it's been night and day with the team with John Tortorella.
All right, fam. We were trying to figure something out with Charlie. As you all know, the power at the stadium went to shit tonight, and so too did the Wi-Fi, so he wasn't going to be able to connect live. He did, however, record a post-game recap sort of video, basically all the shit JP and I would have talked to him about had he joined live. He recorded on his own. We are going to post that on the YouTube page. Tonight, it will be up along with this post-game, so you can check Charlie out there. He will not be joining tonight's show. And that's good to hear because I'm ready to be done. I'm ready to be done.
2 for 1 tonight, guys. That's what we got you.
Yes, but before we get out of here, I got to tell you about the 30% off sale. That's right. Woo! PHLYlocker.com. That's right. Our merch is 30% off through tomorrow. So you are running out of time to go to PHLY Locker and gear up for the playoffs, man. Listen, we got Stanley Cup playoffs. Hopefully NBA playoffs. I didn't see how tonight's game went. I was doing this while our Sixers brethren were over at Chicken or the Egg.
Yeah, they're
for their watch party.
Yeah.
And then we also have first pitch. I mean, spring training is already underway. Opening day, not that far off. You need to gear up, whether it's for the playoffs or the beginning of baseball season. You need to go to PHLYlocker.com.
Get it while it's hot.
And take advantage of this 30% off sale. Who doesn't love a sale? My baseline is always 25. Like when I see 20, I'm like, is that real? Like 15, nah, this is nothing. That's not even, that's sales tax. Like 25 is where I go, oh, okay, I'm interested in this sale. 30 is, oh yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
No one does a random sale in February as well, but that's what we do here at PHLY, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, absolutely. And while we're talking about stuff I'm selling you personally, go to allphly.com/events and get tickets to our takeover. It is March 14th, Flyers Leafs, brought to you by our friends over at Olipop. There's a meetup in the assembly room with me, with Charlie, with Kelly, and all sorts of PHLY personalities. And then the game itself, Flyers Leafs. Last time these teams played, it was a ton of fun. Flyers lose in OT. I would like to see this rematch. I've been looking forward to it. It's coming up on March 14th. So get your tickets at allphly.com/events and go to PHLYlocker.com to get your 30% off. Discount applies automatically at checkout. All right, that is all the time we have for you on PHLY Flyers, presented by Mortgage CS. Check out mortgagecs.com/PHLY to start your home buying process today. Company NMLS ID number 1464766. For JP Zapata, my name is Bill Matz. Have a great week, Philly.
Lights out, Philly.
We all silly like the mayor.